there are two things at work here. One is obviously the domestic angle, essentially transferring cash from the government to the supporters of the people, the donors to the campaigns of the people that voted for the legislation. Effectively standing up and waving the Ukrainian flag as a signal that I got your message, received your re-election campaign contribution, much appreciated. That's about it. As far as Ukraine is concerned, whatever shows up to Ukraine, as Ambassador Burns and the CIA pointed out some time ago, most of it will disappear into bank accounts around the world for Mr. Zelensky and his little band of men who have been robbing the place blind since they came into power. In the United States, it's a matter of what do we do next? We don't seem to think that there are either limits to our interests or to our resources. And that's untrue. We're exhausting our resources. Everyone inside the military understands that. The Defense Department knows it. We don't have much left to fight with at this stage. If we have to go to war, we're in a lot of trouble. So now we've created a second front in the Middle East that was never really necessary. And apparently that's not even enough. They'd like to have a third front in Asia, which is utterly preposterous. And we have no interest in either area to broaden or expand a war. So this is the problem. No sense of limits to our resources and no sense of limits to our interests.
Yes, Colonel Douglas sent this out. According to this tweet, he shares the truth about the latest round of funding for Ukraine. There are two things at work here. One is obviously the domestic angle, essentially transferring cash from the government to the donors to the campaigns of the people that voted for the legislations. Effectively standing up and waving the Ukrainian flag is a signal that I got your message. Receive your re-election campaign contributions. Much appreciated. You can see what is going on here. The direction at which he treated people on this video clearly sent a signal to someone who is not understanding what is happening here.
We're trying to get that because the job is hard. The job is hard. And it's hard not just for me, but for all of my colleagues. It's a difficult job, what we're trying to do on behalf of the American people for this president. And so it is not easy. And so sometimes we try to have a little bit of fun.
Yes.
And so right before I walk out, we try to loosen up a little bit because what I'm about to experience at the podium is
I'm telling you.
It's going to be a journey. It's going to be a journey.
The thing about Biden right now, people are like, why does Biden want to run again? Even if he doesn't really want to run again, his staff wants him to run again. Because if he doesn't run again, if he doesn't win, they're all out of jobs. So
yeah,
if you're that lady who's the White House press secretary, you're
yeah.
Because who the hell's going to hire you? The next person's not going to hire you to be the White House press secretary.
Yeah.
You're terrible.
Yeah.
You have to stay there.
But you
have
could
to
get
keep
a
those
job
jobs.
doing something. From White House press secretary, they're not going to be like, hey, Walmart is hiring greeters.
Yes, I don't know if you have seen this breaking news. The House is threatening to fine Representative Thompson for posting this video, so I'm reposting it here. Please share widely as gestures of defiance against these small-minded fools who, despite getting exposed for their American last policies, it is concerning.
Just today, the Ukrainian parliament is considering enacting a law that would dispossess large numbers of Christian churches and Christian communities in the country of Ukraine. Now, they say it's because these churches are too close to Russia. That's what they say. And maybe some of the churches are too close to Russia, but you don't deprive an entire religious community of their religious freedom because some of its adherents don't agree with you about the relevant conflict of the day. I believe, standing here, that this will eventually lead to the displacement of a massive Christian community in Ukraine, and that will be our shame. Our shame in this chamber for not seeing it coming, our shame in this chamber for doing nothing to stop it, our shame for refusing to use the hundreds of billions of dollars that we send to Ukraine as leverage to ensure and guarantee real religious freedom. There's another historical analogy that I think that's worth pointing out, And that is the historical analogy of the early 2000s.
Yes, Representative Thompson sent this out. Instead of fining Democrat for waving flags, the House Sergeant at Arms just called and said, I will be fined $500 if I don't delete this video pose. Mike Johnson really want to memory hold this betrayer of America. This is how he titled the video. This is the U.S. House of Representatives under the direction of Speaker Mike Johnson's. Democrats are celebrating his total capitulations with no victory for securing our border. You saw what happened a few days ago where I did a segment, trying to report on what actually happened. A lot of people went off like never before. It is important we take an exclusive look where I'll play some videos. You can see exactly what is going on. If you have not subscribed to this channel, please endeavor to do that. It will do you no harm if you share out this video.
To me, the way you deal with Trump is this. Okay, remember the town hall he had on CNN about 6 months ago, and the audience loved it. The audience loved it. I mean, you can hate
it was stacked with Trump supporters.
Well, they said Republicans and independents. That's what they said. Okay, maybe it was. How'd they get in? If they did, that's on CNN.
I agree. I think
Then
it
you
is on
gotta get
CNN, and the vetting process
Well,
was
then you got to get a better audience person.
obviously.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's like the person who handed the gun to Alec Baldwin.
yeah,
Got to get good people in all these positions.
I agree.
Okay, so if that was about whatever, if it was, here's what happened. Here's what people saw in America. They saw Trump killing it with the crowd. Then you come to a panel of 6 people who all just do nothing but dump on him and call him a liar. And America goes, oh, didn't you just see that we like him? And
He's
now
not a stand-up comedian.
what?
He's killing it. He's not a stand-up comedian.
No, but popularity doesn't matter. The people loved him and what he was saying. And then you cut to a panel of 6 know-it-alls in Washington who just do nothing but talk about the negative. And I'm all in on the negative. No one's been harder on Trump than me. But I get it, and I'm bored with it. And there's a different way to do this, I think, which
what is it?
is to not to defend Trump, but to defend the people who still vote for him, because what they see on the other side to them is even more dangerous, because it's very closer to home. My kid is coming home from school and he thinks he's a racist. He's 5. What have you been telling him? My son thinks maybe he's not a boy, and maybe that's true, that happens. But, those kind of things are what they say, that's why I'm voting for Trump. A
backlash to the pendulum swinging so far to the
conservative guy
left.
once said to me, what you don't get about Trump is we don't like him either. Now, that's not true for all people. There are people who just love his dirty draws.